Awesome, excellent. All right, well let's move on to our main topic tonight. Is Jack still here? Oh, there he is. Yep, excellent. So let's just bring you onto Spotlight. Add Spotlight. Here we go. All right, so Jack, for those that don't know Jack and haven't looked him up on LinkedIn yet, he is the founder and creative director of Mavericks. So he's got a video marketing studio, and he helps businesses to generate consistent, high quality inquiries at a lesser cost. So his medium is, well, I think his medium is video. He does a lot with video, but it goes beyond that as well. Based on me hearing him speak, I think was it 2 weeks ago now? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. And his what he spoke about was just really engaging, really interesting, which is why he's here tonight. But he's been in film production for 8 years, well, probably more than 8 years, and he has actually, and he blends cinematic storytelling with biopsychology, so entertainment with sales, to create performance-driven assets to build revenue, which means you get to make sales and get inquiries. So he's got a really good approach to it as well too, and a very sharp business mind. So let's put your hands together and welcome to the screen, Jack Checkland. Fantastic. So, Jack, tell us a bit about yourself, and then we'll get into some of the content for this evening. Oh, and just for everyone else here, this evening's going to run a wee bit differently. As I say, there are no PowerPoint slides for tonight. It is an interactive session, and it is something where if you do have comments, or you do have some questions, or you do have some examples, bring those in, and that's what's really going to make this session valuable tonight. So, Jack, tell us a bit about yourself.
So, I mean, you've pretty much covered it all there, everything that anyone would probably care about with my film experience and my business experience. I'm not the only one on my team. We have a combined more than 52 years of experience across sales, marketing, and business itself. And that's not just running business, it's helping businesses. So, and then we also have the production arm, which is going to be able to make even more bigger budget things as we go. So yeah, we do blend the psychology of consumerism and marketing in a positive, non-manipulative way. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I know marketing's manipulation." That made me laugh. I was like, "I don't see it that way," and I try not to be manipulative, but it's 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 transferring beliefs. So yeah, it's something like that. So yeah, the reason we cross that over is because the psychology of content and storytelling and filmmaking, and just positioning some sort of story from a particular perspective is the same as marketing. It's having some sort of protagonist, some sort of antagonist, and like the good and the bad, and getting the audience to agree with the perspective of the video, I suppose, and the product or the brand. So that's really where it crosses over, and I think is where we have a bit of a unique edge. Yeah, that's me.
So with the videos that you're creating, is this um, for people that are running ads, or is it for people that are wanting organic content, or what sort of things are you doing?
All of the above. Yeah. So anything video really. And we really help with the scripting and the strategy behind it. Uh, Not just showing up shooting. That's the difference between a videographer and us. So, yeah, a videographer shows up, sets up the lighting, makes it look pretty. They might help out with the scripting, that sort of thing, but we're more like a creative partner in that way. We make sure we're really aligned with the brand. We make sure what you want is what you really want, and what you where you see the brand going, and how you want it to be publicly displayed, because once it's up and everyone's seeing it, and that's the way your brand's going to be perceived. So we take it really seriously in that sense. But yeah, we do organic content. It's that sort of stuff usually it's more self-shot DIY stuff for organic content because you need so much of it. It's hard to pump it out at high budgets. And then the highest tier thing we offer is brand cinematic brand videos, which is essentially like mini films, like the old ads, the 90s ads, the brand heroes that you'd see on TV and that sort of stuff. And then in the middle is the video ads.
So things like the Milky Bar Kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the high tier stuff. I don't remember that video too well. I remember what you're talking about. I can't speak on the budget of it. But yeah, like that's usually the more expensive stuff, the more spectacle stuff that you would put on TV, on streaming platforms, maybe YouTube. Yeah.
And how involved are you in getting it onto the platforms after the production has been fi finished?
Yeah, I'm pretty much second in command in that sense. I know how it all works. But the reason I'm creative director is because I'm more of the visionary than the analytics kind of guy. But yeah. So yeah, it's more about the creative strategy and that sort of thing for me. But yeah, I do know how all that works and I can advise on that for people.
Fabulous, fabulous. Um, oh, so Enza says, do you have any examples of some of the work that you've completed so that she can understand a bit more about what you do? It's probably, I mean, you probably don't have anything at hand at the moment, but
I mean, it would take me like 2 minutes to get up, if you guys want to sit around. But I can link that later. Yeah, so some of the work we've done is we've done some ads for random companies. I say random, they're not random, they're very important. So we've done some ads for companies where it's direct to video, direct to, sorry direct response. Sorry, I had a brain fart then. Direct response ads where, they're saying this is our product, blah, blah, blah. For social media, we've done things like training videos. We've done things like the cinematic. We did this sort of speculative whiskey ad, and we've got more spec ads in the pipeline where it's the more bigger budget stuff. We haven't had any actual clients for those yet. We only started this business 1.5 years ago. And those are going to be the big deals. We're looking at some of the people on the team have done ads for Audi and Mercedes. They did a short brand film where it was like its own little movie, but every car was Mercedes and it was sponsored by Mercedes. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so every like pretty much if it's a video and it has a purpose for a business, we've done it, we do it, and we're going to be doing it in future. Yeah.
all right. So watch out for Mavericks on the big screen and the small screen. All right. Well, there's some things there that really help with creating content and creating videos, which is what I heard you talk about a couple of weeks ago. And I think for all of us here, it's some of these things are going to be really helpful, as you think about whether it's video you're doing or whether you're just creating stories. Or just creating posts, these things are really helpful. So maybe let's run through some of those there. So we've got, I think you've got, was it nine things? So if you
Fine.
grab out your pen and paper and keyboard or whatever you use, there are nine things, and some of these are well, actually all of them are good, but you'll find these really useful. So let's run through some of these.
Yeah, so I'll say first, the reason why I came up with this presentation and feel like people needed this right now is because, like we were all saying about the AI doomsday, one of the steps on the way to global domination of AI is that they're going to take over all of the sort of content jobs and any sort of no matter how efficient you are, or how amazing your visuals and your audio is, the execution is going to be irrelevant soon. AI is going to be able to do it in 5 seconds. And I can't say how many years. I'm not an AI expert, but it'll happen eventually. I think
A
we're all pretty
thousand
certain of that.
days.
Yeah, exactly. So we got 900 left. And so AI is going to be able to do anything you can do. So really, it's going to boil down to who has the best ideas, who knows the psychology behind the content, who knows how to grab people, who knows how to be memorable when the screens are off. Because it's just going to be a constant battle of content, one after the other. It pretty much already is. Um, yeah, so like you see one reel, you swipe up, it's another reel, you forgot the last one, and it's gonna have to be the ones that really have the substance and memorability that are gonna be the winners.
So, and I would suspect some originality in there as well too, because AI is part, you can get lots and lots of yeah, pretty good ideas out of AI, but there's not a lot of original content
Yeah,
coming out of
exactly,
that.
and that's one of the key points of memorability as well. Is just being unique. Otherwise, yeah, your brain just sort of meshes it all together.
Hmm. All right, well let's work through these here. So the first one you've got here is one that's did I turn this into a story? I'm just reading off your checklist. So
Yeah,
everyone's going to get a checklist at the end of this evening,
yeah.
but these are the points that Jack's got to cover. So yeah, let's talk to that.
Yeah, so the 70 times isn't random. It's actually a number I came to conservatively. It's more like 100 plus times more memorable in some cases with all of these 9 points, because story alone, 22 times is the memorability of something on average. I don't ask me how that was measured. It actually is in literature, apparently proven. So I'm going to stick with it because I think it's true anyway. It's like does everyone have like a story that their parents told them, maybe about like how they got to school that was absolutely ridiculous, or about what happens at 9 p.m. when like a story about like a kid down the road that went missing because he didn't go to bed by 9 p.m. or something like that? Did anyone have any things like that their parents did?
I think I was that story.
Yeah. You were the one that went missing. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I just get snatched up and just teleport to my bedroom. Yeah, so the psychology is obviously before the story about the kid is not true. I mean, it probably was true. I'm sure there was a kid who didn't go to bed at 9 p.m. and got snatched up. I'm not going to go down that route.
Yeah. I got
Um,
a story if you like.
yeah, go on.
When I was at school, we used to have a school dance every year, and it was an all boys school. So they used to invite the girls from the same year, neighbouring uh, from the neighbouring school from the same year to the dance. And anyway, when we got to the final year, the teacher said, "No, we're not going to invite any of those girls anymore. You got to bring your own date." So I went home and I told Mum, "I'm not going to go. I'm not going to ask a girl to go to the dance with me." And Mum says, "But what about Pam round the corner?" Anyway, she kept at me at that. And I said, "All right, if you want me to take her, you ask her." And did my mother ask her? No, she did not. My mother asked Pam's mother. And Pam's mother said, yes, uh, she'll love to go to the dance with Jeff. So neither of us had any say in it. The parents organised it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it's a funny thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so
And did you end up getting married to her?
No, I never saw her again much after that. That was when I was living in Newcastle, and I went to Sydney to do uni, stayed there far too long, and married somebody from there.
uh,
And there's the punchline.
Yeah,
Excellent. Thanks, Jeff.
yeah, would have been a different story if you were in India or somewhere where the parents marry the kids off. Yeah, so before we had all ads and that sort of thing, all the content that we have now today, it was we story was sort of, I think it was the extra part on the top of the survival pyramid, because after you had your shelter and you had your social and all that sort of thing, the next thing you needed was for your offspring to survive, and the best way for them to survive was for you to pass on the lessons that you nearly died from, so they don't have to take the same roll of the dice. Like, don't go near the leopards, that sort of thing. Should have seen what happened to your father. He nearly died from getting eaten up by I don't know, whatever he confronted. Yeah, so I think that's where story originated from, and that's why it sticks with us because it's literally a survival tool. So when you're telling stories, it's a lot more psychologically memorable, and when you tell facts in a story, it's then 22 times on average more likely to be remembered. Um, the second one is
Well, I was just going to
use
say before you get into the second one, what if you don't have any stories?
you make them up. That's what a story is, you know? You tell a fib. Um, yeah, like if people do it in sales. If anyone here has been in sales, I've been taught that when someone says gives an objection of some kind, you can just make up a story, and or you have some salespeople have scripts pre-written, and it tells you it tells you like a story about a client that probably didn't exist, that they did the exact same thing and they died or something. It's like, oh yeah, no, they went to my competitor's gym and they ended up getting caught in a machine and died. I don't know, that's a completely random example, but there you go.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah,
So, so,
just make it
so
up.
is there a structure? Is there a structure around creating a story that you like to use?
Yeah, so story should have a beginning, a middle, and an end, obviously, and that's written in storytelling as Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. By the end of Act 1, you want the reason for the story to come into place, or some sort of inciting incident. Someone like Mike goes to the store, and then in the middle, you want something to change or them to realize something. Um, Actually, what I can do is I can send you guys Dan Harmon's story circle, and it breaks it into eight, which you can also use four, and it's basically a circle. How above the top semicircle is safety, and the bottom semicircle is danger, and it's about how they start at the top, they go into danger, the inciting incident. They get down to the dark night of the soul, which is the worst thing that could possibly happen. The midpoint where there's sort of a twist, and then they get out of it. They somehow survive. They learn from it, and then the end. Next story continues, and that's what an open loop is. It's that circle isn't fully formed, and that's a cliffhanger usually when you're just about to find out do they get out of the bottom semicircle. So I can send that to you guys as well. But yeah, that's really a clever way to put it. And yeah, like when you've been researching it as much as me, I was watching a film the other night, and I said to the person I was watching it with, well, I was like, where are we in this? And looked at the loading bar, and I was like, all right, we're 3 minutes away from a plot twist because of the genre, and just where it was. It was exactly 3 minutes from the midpoint. And within 5 minutes of the midpoint, there's got to be some sort of plot twist in thrillers. So the story's going to be flipped on itself. But yeah, different genres have different things, but essentially, you in business for you guys, you want some sort of lesson out of it. So you want someone did something, this is what happened, this is the lesson, and that's as bare bones as I can break it down to, and then you just have fun with that. There's a lot of different structures.
So, a couple of comments there, Louis. What you asking there?
Just is that the hero? That's the hero's journey, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the story circle that applies to any story. Different stories don't always you don't always have to do the full circle. You can start in the middle, like where everything's already crap or when they're going in, but every story is somewhere within that circle of 8 points from going into the depths of hell, coming out again, having learned something. And yeah, so and it's also the pattern of it. So sometimes like if you do flashbacks and that sort of stuff, you're just rewinding that disc. It's yeah.
Okay.
It all
And what did
comes
you
down to
say
that
that?
circle.
Sorry, what did you say the three acts were?
So the three acts are it depends how you look at it. It can be three or four, but I prefer three because it's simpler. And in the four act structure, there's Act 2A and 2B, and that's just because the midpoint changes the world for the protagonist. So Act 1 is everything's normal usually, and then an inciting incident. You know, Buzz arrives, Woody's no longer the favorite toy, and then the tension keeps climbing until Dark Knight of the Soul. I think it's Buzz goes missing, Woody realizes he loves him or something like that. And then build up. That's the end. That's midpoint of Act Two. Build up to the climax, end of Act Two, start of Act Three, resolution. Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all
And
right.
I've just dropped a couple of links into chat with the Dan Harmon circle.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad I got his name right. Yeah, I was thinking of a different couple of variations, but yeah, he co-wrote Rick and Morty. I doubt any of you would really be familiar with that, but there was a whole episode on it where they're on this train that goes around a circle and they know what sort of point in the story they're at based on where it is. Yeah, it's really really clever.
All right. Well, what's the next thing?
All right, so the next one is use novelty, which everyone knows and we just spoke about before. You've got to do something new because, as a few of us here may know, life sort of speeds up as you get older, and a big reason for that, is that you see a lot more new things as a kid. And then as you get older, it becomes less and less novel. So there's less thumbnails that your brain needs to capture because it's like we've seen this before. We don't need to journal this. Um, so the novelty kicks something into your memory, but in for order for it to stick, you sort of have to repeat on it. So in content, this is you want to do it at least 3 times. Um, one time is like obviously gets noticed. 2 times it's like, oh, I remember that, and then 3 times it's like this is important. So 3 is the minimum really. Um, yeah, 2 is kind of a coincidence, and three's company in terms of repetition. Um, yeah, so it's weird that those two work together. Um, the fact that repetition ingrains things, but novelty makes it stick out. But the moral of the story is you don't want to do things that people are already repeating because they're just going to associate that, and you're just giving free rein to your whoever's like if it's your competitor. If you start saying the same things as them, they might just associate whatever you build with what they've built. So you say something new, and then you ingrain that in them by repeating that, and that's why companies have taglines and that sort of thing, you know.
So novelty, that's finding I mean, if you've got businesses that are doing pretty much the same thing, like a business coach is a business coach is a business coach is a business coach. So
Yeah,
finding sort of something novel in there that people haven't seen before or heard of before, or a
yeah,
different way of describing things and telling a story around that.
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. That's the nuance with content and advertising is you're never going to be able to just be happy with a formula because people get bored of the same formula. And so nowadays you see all of this pattern interruption that's not even pattern interruption anymore because we're so pattern recognized to pattern interruption. It's like every day I see at least 5 posts that's like this thing is dead because AI just took it over, and I'm so bored of seeing that. I'm sorry if anyone has done that, but I'm so bored of seeing that, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are too. And you just know it's what's and this is the trouble with using AI for your content without spicing it up yourself or having maybe even your own GPT setup that knows your unique brand voice. Or just yeah, training your AI on if are going to use AI, train your AI on being unique and you, or have it give you a few different generations of the content because the first one it spits out is going to be regurgitated a million times. Yeah, pretty much.
And it's a bit like the if anyone's done it, the caricatures of themselves. Have you seen the caricatures on LinkedIn and Facebook that people done? So, there was a couple of them done, then all of a sudden the whole feed is full of all of these caricatures. So it was novel and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And now everyone's doing it. So, what's the next thing?
Yeah, well, they're asking a machine that only knows what other people have already done, how to be unique, and it's like that kind of speaks for itself, which
Mm.
is what the human element is always going to have a stake on, and why if you can learn to be creative, which is a thing you can learn, not not in it's hard to word. I'm not a psychologist, but you can't be creative if you're not creative, but there is a formula that I guess that's a different presentation. It's essentially
Yeah.
taking two things that already exist, putting it into one or more, more things than that into one, because that's what creativity is. It's just pattern recognition and combining. It's just the creative people do that instinctively.
So a question here too, in terms of that repetition, yeah, you talk about so one time it gets noticed, second time, it's recognized, the third time someone sees it, it starts to get ingrained. There is a principle that Louis just pointed out that, you need to say 22 touch points, or it's anywhere between 22 to 28 touch points. How do they all work together? Have you heard of that? So 22 touch points
Yeah,
before anyone is
I've
going to
heard the
take action.
7 to 22. Yeah. So is
Yeah.
this about the novelty one?
This is about novelty and about sort of the repetition part of it,
Yeah.
and I think so possibly that three times may not be enough with all of the noise that's out there at the moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes up to 22 times or more, but
Yeah.
before people will actually take some form of action.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess that plays into it in the way that people aren't gonna take those as touch points if they didn't notice your content. So that's why the novelty needs to be there every single time. You need to sort of pattern interrupt every single time. When you send them an email, just because you've sent them 22 emails doesn't mean they're gonna buy it. They have to have actually seen the email, cared about it, and so the subject line has to be good. I'm not an email marketer, but yeah, in terms of content, you everyone has to be novel. And then the repetition in that, I suppose, is just them seeing you, and that's repetition is familiarity, which is comfort. We like things that we've seen a million times. I'm on my fourth run of Breaking Bad, and people recommend all these great TV shows to me, and I'm like, I like my comfort show, but then yeah, the novel stuff, the ones that stand out. Um, yeah. So to answer your question, uh, yeah. The 22 touch points should all be novel, and the repetition is you reaching out, or just them seeing your content, but they're not going to have seen it, or at least know that they've seen it, or remember it if it's not novel. And there isn't uh, some sort of reinforcing thing, whether it's just your brand, and that's why brands that just put their logo everywhere do really well. And you're just like, I don't even know what that brand is, but like it, I would probably choose them. Like I only found out last year what 1300655506 number was, and it's a reading thing. Do you remember that jingle? It was 1300655506. Do you remember that? It was always on the TV in like the early 2000s. Does anyone remember that? Oh, that God, that's been
Oh,
stuck in my
yeah.
head for so long. Yeah. And I didn't even know what it was. I looked it up like last year or the year before, and it's like a reading, like teaching people to read or something like that. But I always knew it, and I was like, if I'm ever in an emergency, and for some reason I forget 000, I'll just call that number because I just know it. Then maybe they can help me. And that's an extreme example of just the familiarity.
Well, another good example of that too is when my kids were little, like under four, driving through Lower Hutt and Wellington, and we would always drive to the supermarket, and then one day, one of my kids said, "Let's stop at McDonald's to have something to eat," because they'd heard on the TV all the time the McDonald's thing, and they've seen the golden arches, and and they never have eaten it, but the repetition put pressure on us as parents to take them into to have
Yeah.
McDonald's.
That on top of now you've got, oh, McDonald's in 2 kilometers, and then you get down the road, only 1 kilometer to the McDonald's. They got just signs all the way. It's like, guess I'm going that way.
So it's repetition.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
All right. So first thing was turn something into a story. Second thing is novelty or use novelty and repetition. What's the third thing?
The third thing is create some sort of emotion with them. Emotion is a lot more memorable than facts. Um, sorry, I've just lost my page. Yeah, so if you create an emotion in someone, um, obviously it's a lot more memorable because we're more emotional beings than logical. So and this is a big reason why stories are a lot more memorable as well, because your neurons fire feelings and then your brain translates them into thought, not the other way around. So you have a feeling, and that's sort of what instinct is. It's oh, you smell coffee. If I smell coffee, I'm gonna be real, I have to run to the toilet, and I haven't even had the coffee, but my brain smells it, knows it's a laxative, and so if you can do that with your brand, and also you smell KFC, I swear they've got like a batch of fried chicken that they just pump out of a chimney, so you smell it a kilometer away, because then you go, now I want chicken as well. Um, and so yeah, so in content, there's storytellers have a tool called the Angel's Cocktail, where if your film or your story or your book or whatever, your content can create the Angel's Cocktail, which is a mix of neurochemicals. Um, I'll try not to be overcomplicated in case anyone here doesn't know neurochemicals at all. So dopamine is basically focus and motivation, which you can create through suspense, through some sort of, um, when a character finds out they have superpowers, it's like, oh, where's this gonna go? Or even dopamine can be through like bad suspense, like there's a serial killer just walked past the window. It's just a where's this going to go? And that's what gets you locked in. That's what makes open loops and that sort of thing work when you can't put something down. And if you do put it down, you can't focus on the next task because you're like, what the hell is that about? That's dopamine. So you want to get that going, definitely in the start, and that's what hooks are about. And then oxytocin is emotional connection, which is it's the feel-good hormone. Or neurochemical. I'm not even sure, to be honest. It's like what you create when you create some sort of relationship with the character, and this is often done through what they call save the cat. Make Mr. Incredible save a cat at the start of the film, and suddenly you're like, oh, I like Mr. Incredible, or even something relatable like in Breaking Bad, where he's just getting embarrassed. The whole first episode is just about him getting trod on by everyone else, and it's just like, yeah, that's how I feel. That's how you create that emotional connection, and that's way more memorable. And you can use this in like this is just charisma 101 as well. I'm not saying I'm a very charismatic guy. Your opinions, but like I do. I'm always aware that like how other people are feeling with like trying to get, especially on sales and that sort of thing. You want to it's the same process with sales. You want to get them to feel their pain, which gets them the dopamine of how we're going to fix this, and you want to create rapport with them so they trust you to do it and they have a good experience. And then endorphins is the third neurochemical in that cocktail, which is usually best done through humor and laughter. That's the feel like you've just had a nice hug emotion, like it's just, human connection. Yeah, not to be confused with dolphins, endorphins.
So then if you're thinking about the Angel's Cocktails, where you're starting to engage people's emotions, really that there and storytelling would go together, because storytelling is all about engaging people's emotions as well too, isn't it? Oh, and that circle.
Yeah, and so telling a story, the reason I put that first, and it's definitely the biggest driver by far, is because telling a story pretty much, if you tell a good story, it should pretty much include all of these. It should make people feel emotion. It should be novel. So yeah, how to tell a good story plays into also make it a story and then use these other points to make it a good story. But even if it's not a story, you can use most of these other parts.
So some comedians do it very well, like Ricky Gervais, for instance. He shocks people with some of his stories, so that gets the emotions flowing. I'm not quite sure whether it's he's got what cocktail he's got there, but
Probably a few
he
before he speaks.
yeah. Yes. And so any good comedians would have that same sort of cocktail too, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, Ricky Gervais is a great example because you get the dopamine, the suspense just from knowing who he is and the fact he's about to speak. You're like, oh God, what's this gonna be? And he starts talking about something that could go completely wrong. He starts talking about, something that could like disable people or the Jews or the Holocaust, something like that. And you're like, oh God, where's this gonna go? That's the dopamine. And then the oxytocin is just it's in the pudding because he's a comedian. It's an emotional connection with him, or if he creates a character in the story. And then endorphins is the punchlines when you laugh and you're like, I like Ricky Gervais now. Um, if the joke worked on you, if it's your style, but yeah.
Mm. All right, so turn something into a story, use novelty and repetition, make them feel something, so bring up the emotions. And the next one you've got here is something about open loops.
Yeah, so an open loop, like I said before, is just not closing off Dan Harmon's story circle. Um, and that leaves questions unanswered. That's what cliffhangers do. It's what plot twists do, and it's what TV shows do or did. I don't know if anyone still watches TV, where the ads would just suddenly cut you off. Actually, no, it actually is still really relevant because YouTube finds the most replayed parts and it makes the ads either just as it's kicking off or just towards the end because it's the part you want to see most where their ad comes in and they know you're going to watch through the ad because you're not just going to click off the video because you have that open loop. You need that part answered. And it's what TV shows used to do with the cliffhangers and why TV shows were designed differently to films where they'd have to have a plot twist like 4 times in one hour episode so they could get the ads in. And the better the show that was doing that, the better the ads performed. So yeah, because people would actually have to watch, they wouldn't dare run to the toilet, that sort of thing.
So that reminds me of there's a show on Netflix which is called what's it called? We call it Gotham Garage. So it's they're people that restore cars and turn them into all sorts of amazing beasts and cars and things like that, like turning a smart car into an off-road car and all of these sort of things. But they go through the whole process of getting the car and building it. You see all the stages of it, and at the end, they don't reveal it. You've got to wait till the next episode when they do the reveal. So of
Wow.
course, and it's on Netflix as well. So of course it's we say, well, we'll just watch the next 5 minutes of the episode so we know what the car looks like and the reactions of people to it. And of course, once you're hooked into 5 minutes, you're hooked into the next 50 minutes, and
Yep.
then it keeps going. So that's a good example of that sort of open loop, isn't it?
Yeah, it uses the sunk cost fallacy on yourself, in for a penny, in for a pound. You're like, oh, I've already watched 20 minutes. What's another 10? Yeah, they sort of keep that stringing you along. And that's what like in terms of ads and that sort of thing, or even organic content, you want to open with the hook, and if the hook can create an open loop where something's going to get answered in that video, but you say, oh, it might take a little bit longer to explain, so stick around until the end. That's how a lot of videos perform. Some people might skip to the end if that's all they want, but you can't really help that. Because yeah, you sort of promise that there's going to be gold sprinkled throughout, and that's what the hook can do with open loop hooks, rather. Yeah.
And we were talking about this just before the show here tonight. If you want a good example of those open loops, go and watch Billy Connolly, some of his comedy shows, and you'll notice that he starts stories and he never finishes a story till about halfway through, and then he starts finishing all his stories there. So he's just building all these open loops or unfinished stories for the first half of the show, and then the last half of the show, then he closes them. And if you've seen his shows too, he's often got a graffiti screen behind his behind where he's performing. And what I discovered was that graffiti screen is actually his script. So he can see the stories he's telling in the graffiti and where to finish them. So he's got it all in order. Fascinating. So how he's got it all organized. So he was a master of those open loops.
Yeah, and it's sort of the same way Tarantino writes his stories too, in a lot of his films, like Pulp Fiction. It's just all these setups, and you're like, "What the hell was that about?" It just randomly ended, just cut to another scene, and then suddenly they're all like in the finale together. Yeah, it's very theater in that way. The a lot of theater productions scripted that way too. So it comes to one grand
Mm.
ensemble at the end, and yeah, sort of Macbeth. Yeah,
All
and
right, number five.
yeah. So number five is use analogies and associations. So everyone get taught fractions as a kid, and it was like pizza or something because you didn't care about numbers, you just cared about uh, like how you would split a pizza. Your teacher would say, you try to find things relevant to people. The teacher would say, "Oh, if you guys had a pizza split between you, and there's four of you, and there's eight slices, how do you divide it?" And it made you actually want to answer that question because it was a relevant problem. Whereas if they said if you have a circle and you want to divide it by eight, you'd be like, why would I do that? So if you can create analogies where your information is relevant to the person, and I mean if we're talking advertising and marketing, it should be anyway. But even just to explain it, like in ads and explainer content and in sales, um, I at least always try to, depending on who I'm talking to, I try to translate the point into their world. So if I'm talking with a car mechanic and they say, "Oh, should I have organic content or should I run ads?" I go, "I don't know. Do you want an engine or a fuel tank?" You know, that's just how they see the world. That relating to them. Very hard to do on a podcast like this because you all speak different languages in that sense, I'm sure. So I wish I could translate it. But yeah, so I wish I could translate things like that, but I wouldn't risk it. Yeah, so for
So you're
example,
really getting them to connect something in their world that they're familiar with a
yeah.
concept that they're not familiar with and linking it together so it makes it understandable.
Yeah, it's a lot more memorable for them if like even never eat soggy wheat bix at na northeast southwest. It was a way to remember it. You associate it with something else, and I've kind of tied two different things together here because analogies and associations can be quite different in that way. But
Mm.
analogies is yeah like the metaphor that relates to their world that they'd understand, like a mechanic understanding cars but not understanding how content works. And associations is associating things to things they already know, like never eat soggy Weet-Bix with northeast, southwest sort of thing. Just makes things a lot more memorable.
All right. So next one, everyday life and culture. What's that about?
Linked to things people already see and hear every day. Um, Trying to think of an example for you guys. I used on the presentation that I did live with you, the fact that no one could say, "Hi, my name is" in 1999 without you at least thinking or someone joking, um, "Chicka Chicka Slim Shady." Because what he did there was he associated something that he took what people say every day and finished the loop, just overrode it with something else. And it's hard to find examples of other things that do that so well. But yeah, I don't know. You guys are a
There
bit of
is
a
a
different.
concept out there called there's a concept called piggyback marketing, and you find things
Mm,
that are happening in everyday life. So what have we got on at the moment? We've got the Olympics. So the what do you call it? The Winter Olympics are on at the moment. And so if you can sort of link your product, your service, whatever you're doing to something that's happening in the Olympics.
mm.
So like getting a VA to write your content is a bit like sort of going down a bobsled slope and picking up the gold medal. Bad analogy, but that sort of thing there in terms of linking current affairs with so your product or service or the outcomes of it.
Yeah, and if you have a target market that has a particular culture, it makes it a lot easier, and that's why a lot of marketing places say niching down is makes marketing a lot easier. It's also just because if you can learn the culture of a specific group rather than saying, "Oh, I'm trying to relate to everyone," you can actually, you know what uh you know what things to relate to in their life. You know what they hear every day. You know what they see every day, and you can relate to them, and that's in rapport building. But it's also it makes things more memorable because they'll then when the next time they see that thing, they'll remember you. They'll remember what you did or said.
Well, one of the things I think is going to be really memorable is I was just watching Louis write a note on his couch behind him. So when he sits down, he's going to sort of remember what he's written there because he's going to be able to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is why product placement works both ways for the films and the brands because obviously it works for the brands because they're in the film. So when you watch the film, you see the brands. But what this relate in this sense, I see Twinkies and I think of Adam Sandler because of the movie Click. If anyone's seen that, whenever I walk past those American shops on the street, I see the Twinkies and I think, oh, I should watch an Adam Sandler movie. I haven't seen one in a while. And it's because he related himself while getting paid for the brand sponsorship, most likely. He's also associated himself with Twinkies now, and so it works both ways. Yeah.
Hmm.
Nick and Jackie are there.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. Nick and Jack. There's a program on the ABC at the moment. I'm probably the only person who watches the ABC still, called Dog Park.
Mm.
And they've positioned it so it immediately follows muster dogs. So I guess they're thinking that people who like watching muster dogs and sheep farming and dogs, etc., are more likely to stay on and watch another program that's also got dogs in a dog park, which, by the way, is really quite fun. You should watch it, Nick.
Yeah.
So
Actually, I saw it for the first time, I think this week or last week.
yeah, and as I say,
What do they do?
Well, it's people who all own dogs and they meet in a dog park and relationships and ups and downs and normal trials of life. But the common denominator is that everybody has a dog and they all meet each day in the dog park. But as I say, it's more the positioning of it. The ABC play it immediately after another popular movie or TV program, Muster Dogs, although I never watched that. But anyway.
Hmm.
Yeah, you'd be catching the same audience. Yeah, so that's a
Yes,
good way
yeah,
of targeting is
yeah.
yeah, where you sort of buy a media, you can put it with things that associate with your ad to make sure you're grabbing the people just before they leave. Hey, you'll also like this. Yeah. So is that scripted or is it reality show?
Oh no, it's scripted.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Mm.
I'll have to look into it.
It's
Dog Park.
Australian. You'll enjoy it. It is. It's good fun, and yes, you'll get dragged in. As Nick said, if you're there for 10 minutes, you'll be there for the full program. So
Yeah, cool.
Yep, they got me.
it did, and it's on iView. You can stream the whole lot. But anyway, back to
You're getting paid for this.
I am too.
But yeah, now every time you go to a dog park, you'll be like, oh, let's watch that show again or whatever.
Look, to be perfectly honest, I don't like animals. I've only really just got used to people. Um, so animals is really pushing my limits too far. But anyway.
I'd say the other way. I'm having to get used to people. I already like animals.
All right,
Yeah, thanks,
we have 3 minutes for the last three, so a minute
oh,
for
okay,
each
cool.
one.
Let's smash them out.
Yeah.
Good job. I wrote these in descending priority order anyway. So focus on one message per piece of content, and that's great for this because we've got to be quick. So that is the one message. People can't take on too much. And I hope what you take away from this, I tried to design it so that story is the number one thing because if, like I say, if you can crack down on a good story, you learn how to tell a good story. Even if you're not telling a story, all of these will automatically apply because a story should be about one thing. It's about is killing people wrong or uh whatever Batman's about. You know, that's sort of the core takeaway. Batman and the Joker. Um yeah, so give them one thing. You can say multiple things, but make that one clear one that takes the cake that you'll repeat 3 times. That you hit with the repetition. My favorite, this is going back to the Angel's Cocktail, is and uniqueness. Having a unique brand voice and humor is way more memorable. If you can make people laugh, not only does it signal intelligence and just trustworthiness, it was one of the original like trust builders, like um through evolution. It's been can you make someone else laugh? Which if you can make someone else laugh, you understand their world in some way. You have pattern recognition. You have empathy because you can't really laugh with someone if you don't connect with them. And if you actually look up the psychopath laugh, it's actually quite scary when someone explains to you how psychopaths laugh and how they're not really laughing with you. But we definitely feel that, and that's why a lot of uh villains, I think, like the Joker and like killer clowns and that sort of thing, they laugh and they have the psychopath laugh. They're not laughing with you. It's this laugh that's selfish and cold in a way. Yeah, so and unique brand voice, obviously, you want to stand out, and people just they don't want the same thing over and over. So last one, I don't know how long we have. Solve a problem. Um, Even a small one. Even if like when I'm on sales calls, if someone I try to get the problems out of people, obviously the one I'm trying to sell to, but even if they're like, oh, sorry, I was just having this problem with my car or whatever. I'm not a mechanic. If I think I can help, I try to help them with that. I give them a tip, and then they go, oh wow. And then they remember you because we like things that help us, and we remember things that help us because it could help us in future. So if your content actually does something that helps someone. And this is what lead magnets do essentially, or people call them different things. But yeah, the trust builder content and that sort of thing, lead magnets, they help solve a smaller problem so people trust you with the bigger problems and remember you, because we're very reciprocal beings, most of us. I think at the base everyone is. And it also just positions you differently once you've helped someone. You get the trust, authority, and that sort of thing. Yeah, so that's all of them. That's all 9.
Fantastic. So this is really good because I'm looking at I'm looking at it from the point of view of sort of lead magnets now. I hadn't even thought about that. But the checklist that you've given us, which everyone will get after tonight in the email that goes out at the end of tonight, this checklist you can use for your lead magnets. So, and you can just go through and sort of, and it is a checklist. Have I done this? Now, do I have one message? Do I have something that is novel in there? Does it evoke emotion? So you can actually check all these off. So it's not just content for video content. It really is across any piece of content that you're creating for any purpose, right? All right. Well, that's our session with Jack. How do people get in touch with you, Jack, if they want to sort of find out a wee bit more about what you do?
Any which way really. LinkedIn, email. I'll drop all that in. Or do you already have all that? Is that already
Oh,
marketed?
we've got your LinkedIn profile. So again, we'll drop that out
Yeah.
in the email that comes out tomorrow as well too.
Yeah, or by phone if anyone has any burning questions, like that you're just stuck on something, I'm happy to pick up the phone and just help you out with it. Yeah, I'm pretty. I mean, obviously, when I'm shooting and that sort of thing, I'm not available, or if I'm deep in client work. But same as any business owner. Yeah, I'm happy to get back to you when I can. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm doing it because I want to see better content anyway. I don't want you guys like ruining my feed with boring repetitive crap. So please, if you think your content's crap, save us all and just reach out.
And Bruce is asking, where are you based?
I'm based on the Gold Coast.
So just down a little further south from you there,
I'm
Bruce. So good
happy. I'm happy for you
opportunity
to
to
fly
come
me
down to the
out.
beach.
I'm happy for you to fly me out as long as it's first class.
Yeah, he's in Brisbane, so Gold Coast to Brisbane
Yeah.
airport.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any questions at all or comments? I'm just going to check through the chat to see whether we've got everything. Are stories better spoken than in print? That was Colin.
Ooh. Uh, Depends on the speaker, depends on the writer, I would say. If the writer is Stephen King, written, if the speaker is uh Billy Connolly, Billy Connolly. You know what I mean? Stephen King's not great with his words. It's not very intriguing. And Billy Connolly, I don't know, maybe he's a great writer. Yeah, I think he is actually. I don't know. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a talent gap, I would say. But um, to add to that, it's always better the more senses. So visual, audio, visual. That's why video is the most memorable because it's using um, it's using, and that's why real life's even more memorable than that because you've got smell, you've got the feeling of the air. All our memories work different ways. Yeah, but yeah, so I would say the more senses you stimulate, the better.
Fabulous. Excellent. All right. And you've got another LinkedIn connection there too, Jack. So
Awesome.
check out your
Thank you.
LinkedIn profile. So let's
Will do.
give Jack a round of applause. Thank you for coming on and sort of giving us those 9 tips to be hundreds of times more memorable rather than just 70 there. We do have a door prize, so let's not run away just yet. Tell us what the door prize is, Jack.
The door prize is a free session with me. I'll give you an hour, and we'll just go through all your stuff or whatever you're planning to do, and we'll work out. I could even help you write like what your content should be about. If you are running content, I can help you just find the gaps, find what you could be improving on, what's probably holding it back. Yeah, and if you're not and you want to, yeah, I'll obviously help with that.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's bring up the wheel of names. It's only my name in the wheel of names. No, it's
I'm not
everybody's name
spending
in
an
the
hour
wheel of
with you.
names.
That's off the table.
So everybody's name is in there. So we will have one lucky winner tonight. So let's spin the wheel and see who that is. You need to be in the room to win it. So anyone's disappeared and we draw their name out, then they don't get it. Paul Kennedy has just left the room. So let's remove Paul. Oh, Paul and Vlad, why are they in together? So Paul's just left the room. So let's spin the wheel again. And if someone would be kind enough to let Paul know that he won yet another prize. And we have Jeff Summers. In order to win the prize, you need to be on camera. Are you on camera, Jeff? He is now.
I am now.
He's got it.
Fabulous. You are the lucky recipient of spending an hour with Jack and scripting out some of the stuff you do. I know you've got some great stories as well too, apart from that story of your mother's jacking you up to go to the dance together. I know you've got other stories in there sort of around what you do as well. So valuable session. So well done, Jeff.
Okay, thank you.
Fabulous. That is our session tonight. So once again, thank you, Jack. Now is a good time to save the chat. We've got all of those apps and tools in there, plus some of the resources that Jack mentioned on the way through as well too, all in there as well. If you're not sure where to save it, 3 little dots on the top right-hand side of chat. And when you do save it, one little tip is it'll give you a link immediately after you've saved it. It'll stay there for about 5 seconds. If you click on it, you won't need to go and find the where you saved it to. It would open the document up on your computer. You'll have this checklist. This will come out in the email that comes out, I think it's tomorrow, either tonight or tomorrow. Just so watch out for the email that comes out and grab the checklist and save it. And it's got all 9 points in it in a checklist form. All right, that's our session for tonight. Thanks everyone for coming along and look forward to seeing you again. Have a good night.